cooperate right now. Anyway, my name is Amanda Liu, and I am the Business and Media Lead for Team 1678 Citrus Circuits. Thank you all for coming tonight. And today I will be talking to you about, maintaining your team image and conveying what you do and your team image to your community through the use of public relations. Well, anyway, I'll just go on. So, okay. So, a really important question that pops up a lot of the time regarding robotics and public relations is just why? Why should we do this? Why is marketing relevant to robots? And, why should we keep on doing it? And the answer, well, there's no really definite answer, but connecting to your community is extremely important. Gaining awareness and support can really help your team in the long run. And so this, communities, I mean, just the FRC community, maybe your school community, and your local community, and all of that. Hey, it works. Yay! Okay. Can you? Yeah. Same way. Yeah. Sorry for the small screen, but so doing public relations and conveying your team through promotion is a really good way to show your community that you take your team seriously as an organization and that you are willing to go all out and do all of this stuff. And there's a lot of benefits to doing public relations. Some things are like garnering community support and involvement, and having your community know about you can always help for outreach later on. Having things like recruitment, doing public relations and promoting your team, gathers in a lot of students who might join your team later on who are interested in STEM. It's also a really good way of showing your sponsors what you are doing with their money and why it's important for them to sponsor you. And also, maybe a new sponsor will show up through your, when they see you at one of your public relation promotional events. And lastly, doing public relations can help you for a lot of FIRST awards. Things like the Media Award, which kind of recognizes how you convey your team to the community, uses a lot of your public relations sources, as well as Chairman's, which is basically just a compilation of the support and outreach you do toward your community and your team vision and all. So throughout this entire presentation, I just kind of want you to keep three very important things in mind. Number one is that everything you do regarding your team, everything you do regarding promotion and public relations will be a direct reflection of your team. So as soon as you put your team shirt on, you have to remember and be careful of what you do, because people will see what you do as what your team does. And so, gracious professionalism, just keep that in mind, make your grandmothers proud, and be respectful. Second thing is that you want to have consistent branding on all the public relation things you do. Having consistent branding makes your team very recognizable. If they see maybe a press release that you released and they see, oh, it's your logo, they automatically know that's your team. So having this consistent branding is just really important for recognition in and of itself. And lastly, probably one of the most important things is you must ask yourself the question, who is your audience? Your audience will determine what you convey and how you convey it. You tailor whatever content you have and whatever tone you want to give towards the audience that you're giving. But so talking to a sponsor would be very different from talking to maybe an 8th grader who wants to join your team. Whether that's regarding if they already know what your team is, if they know anything technical, if they if they support your team or not, things like that to keep in mind. So branding, as I just said in the previous slide, branding is very important. And so basic rule of thumb is that if you have your logo, you slap it on whatever you can slap it on. And that Select the kind of thing that you want your team to be associated with. And when you have your logo and your branding in general, you want it to be very consistent, and you want it to be recognizable. For example, Team 1678 Citrus Circuits has had the same logo for many years now, and because of this, people throughout the years can just know our logo and recognize it instantly. And so you want to stay consistent. And when I say that you should have the same logo, you shouldn't change your logo every other year or every year, because this, big change will basically undermine and take away your team identity. And so if you do want to change your logo, make a decisive decision and stick with it. Don't be very wishy-washy with it. So, yes. As you can see here on the slide, I have kind of two examples. This is our logo that you see is plastered everywhere on the slides and on the workshops. And then this is a beautiful atrocity that I put together in 2 minutes. If we have different things like this, people might not instantly recognize what our team is without at least knowing our name and our number. So just having a consistent logo that you use and continually use is extremely important for education. By branding, it's kind of an umbrella term that consists of a logo, the colors you use, and the fonts you use. Just take a color palette and stick to it. Write down the RGB, CMYK, hex values on a reference sheet and always refer back to it. Don't choose a color and then choose something kind of similar to that color later on. Stick to a color, and that applies to fonts too. And, but yeah. So next I'm going to go over a few channels that you can convey and promote your team through. This is just going to be a little preview of what I'm going to talk about. But yeah. So no matter what form of public relations you will be promoting through, you will probably be using writing. And so writing is extremely important because it gives a lot of description to what your team does in something that a picture or a photo might not necessarily give. And so when you write, you have to just remember the basic things that you learned in school. Watch out for spelling errors, watch out for grammatical errors. Proofread it. Proofreading is extremely important. Proofread it a few times yourself, have somebody else proofread it, have another person proofread it. Just make sure it's ready and it's finalized before you publish something, because once you publish something, you might not be able to take it back and edit it. So extremely important to finalize all of this. And then when you write, you always want to keep, you want to try to be precise and you want to be concise with what you're writing. You want to accurately convey what your team does, and you want to keep it pretty short. You don't want to just go on and on and on and eventually confuse the reader. So one of the first thing that comes to mind when I say writing, or at least to me, is press releases, otherwise known as newspaper articles. So press releases can be published in whatever newspaper you find, whether that be your local school newspaper, maybe a science journal that you have around town, or just your local community newspaper overall. And so the audience that you are targeting for this will be local community members who probably don't know anything about your team. And so you always keep this in the back of your mind when you're writing, because you want to elaborate on background information. Since they don't know what you are, and what your team does, they probably don't know what FIRST is or what FRC is, and they probably don't know anything about robotics or competition in general. So you want to elaborate on that, and then avoid using jargon whenever you can, unless you're going to explain it. So by jargon I mean terms like, if you throw in the word cooperation in the middle of it, people are going to get confused. So be careful with your word choices. And so the kind of things that you publish a press release on are major events that you think your community would care about. So if you just went to a competition, if you just won a competition, if you have a really big outreach event that you would like your community to partake in, write a press release about it and send it in and get it published. And so for all of these events, for all of these press releases, you want to keep it factual and you want to keep it informative. And you also want to keep it very unbiased. So by factual, I mean, cover the basics, cover the what, who, when, why, how, and just elaborate on that. Don't just state the obvious, but don't go on and on and on about it. Hey, Harvey. And so by unbiased, I mean take a neutral stance. Write in the third person, don't write in first person, and just try to write kind of like you're not directly affiliated with your team, but an outsider's perspective might be easier for an outsider to understand. And just because it's factual and informative, though, doesn't mean that it still can't be interesting. To spice things up a bit, you can put in quotes. For quotes can seem very intimidating, but in reality, they're not. You don't always have to go find a person and ask them to talk about something that you want them to talk about. You don't just go to them, ask what they want to say, and then just write a quote up for them in the style of how they would say it. And then always run it through them before you publish it, but this makes things a lot easier sometimes. Just make up quotes instead of forcing them to make it up for you. Other things for interest are like headlines. Instead of just stating the obvious with your headline, try to go for something attention-grabbing, something eye-catching, but something that still states what the purpose of your article is. And include a high-res photo or two. I know a lot of teams do have team photographers that take photos. Go talk to them, ask for a tight photo of maybe your robot in action, maybe some people working on your robot, and just send it with your article when you want to go publish it. So this is an example of a press release that our team wrote up. And I put a star next to all the important things. I'm just going to go through those. First star, right here, this is our local newspaper, so I'm targeting our local community. Second thing, you can't really read it, but right here it says Next Generation. Next Generation is a column in our newspaper that focuses on students and what students do to participate and give back to the community, kind of. Yeah, kind of. But it's all about students, and so that's, that's what we are, we're students. Third star, headline. So here it says, Citrus Circuits takes Central Valley Regional by storm. So I'm stating, here we're stating, what we did. We went to Central Valley Regional, and you can kind of tell what we won through the headline. But we're not just saying Citrus Circuits won at Central Valley Regional. We're just, changing it up a bit. For this third star right here, this concerns your format. So when you write a press release, it's a little different from when you write just a regular essay for class, that you want to write in a inverted pyramid style, basically. So you want to start out with the most important thing. You want to start out with the purpose of your article. So here we have something like, I can't read it, but basically world champion high school robotics team Citrus Circuits recently won Central Valley Regional down at Madera on whatever date it was. And so there, you read the first sentence, you automatically know what the article is going to be about. And then as we go on, we explain more about, this is what FIRST is, this is what Stronghold is, this is how alliances work, this is how we went through our competition, yada, 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 cut a little out. And then we go to this one. This paragraph right here is a preview. What are we going to do next? We're going to go to our next regional, UCD Regional, which is held there, and this, kind of engages with the community, and that in this paragraph we are inviting the community to come watch our robot compete at a local regional. And then these last two paragraphs are something that you should include in every single press release you do, and that it states what your team is, what your team does, and then who are your major sponsors, because we love our sponsors. We want to know that, let them know that we appreciate them. Finally, we have right here is a photograph of our robot shooting a boulder taken by a member of our business media team, and a little caption underneath stating, this is our robot Adrian, competed at Central Valley Regional, just basic info. So publication, one of the more important steps. You want to find a contact, obviously, for whatever newspaper that you want to publish in. And so when you first find a contact, you want to try to find a contact that you can stick to and that you can basically develop a relationship with. Because this contact, if you play your cards right, can end up as a primary contact that you can always refer back to for future press release articles. And so when finding a contact, if you're going through your local newspaper, find the editor who's in charge of the column that you kind of want to write under. So maybe if it's about students or education, maybe robotics, just something that your team's press release would probably be published under. And just email them. Email them with your press release, with a photo, with your contact information. Of course, if it's your first email, preface it a little bit. Hi, my name is, I'm from this high school robotics team. We're wondering if you could get this, press release published. Preface it, and then just send it to them. And if they reply back and they like it, and they publish it, everyone's very, very happy. And then for timing, timing is extremely important because you want to publish an article and still have it be relevant to what the article is about. And so you must always consider the buffer time. When you send an article to an editor, they're not going to publish it the next day because they need to get it through the newspaper, get it through the formatting. They go through a lot of steps. This can usually take around a week to 2 weeks. And so, keep this in mind. So if you just want a competition and you write a press release about it 3 weeks later, and then have it published, 2 weeks after that, it's not really going to be relevant anymore. So try to be very timely about all of this, and keep those deadlines in mind. So another form of writing is newsletters. Newsletters are kind of like press releases, but they are completely controlled by you, since it's not published by an outside source. And the audience who you're sending your newsletter out to will probably be people who already know who your team is and will hopefully support your team. And so because of this, you can make it more personalized. You can use first person. You can describe the enthusiasm of your team and the excitement of everything, and not just have it be facts upon facts upon facts. So really, with your newsletter, since you control it, you can control what you want to publish in it, whether that be major events that you would publish in a press release, like competitions, outreach events. Maybe you profile a member of your team or a mentor that you want to just highlight for that week. Mention your sponsors, mention your fundraising goals, anything that you want your fans to know about, publish in a newsletter. And then finally with newsletters, you want to be very consistent with your updates on that. You want to have regular updates. I don't mean to don't publish one like every week because that's going to be really hard to pump out. But if you're going to, set a regularity that when you want to publish it. So if you want to publish 2 a year, then you can go for it. Publish 2 a year. If you want to publish it quarterly, publish it monthly, maybe once a year. Just set a goal, stick to that goal, and try to get one out by that date that you set. And so, this is an example of a newsletter. This is the Funky Monkeys Team 846, their newsletter from 2014. You can't really see it, but they include a lot of information like their team, their title, and then the different events that they're going on, competition events, local build updates, outreach events, things like that. And so when formatting your newsletter, you always want to keep in mind, a little rhyme here, keep in mind graphic design. And that when you, because you control the formatting, you control how it's conveyed to the audience. So you don't want something to look too busy, you don't want something to look too crowded, you don't want someone to just look at it and go, wow, this is just too much, I don't want to read this. You want to have something that appeals to the reader and draws them in so that they want to read it before they've even read the first word. So, use columns if you have to. Use spacing. Use photos. Separate your topics. Just make sure that it looks appealing. And so media coverage. By media coverage, I mean maybe your local TV station or your local radio station. This is not a very common form of public relations. It's a very hard method, but when you do get it, it is extremely rewarding, as it is the form of public relation that probably targets the largest audience. So in that, if you have a really big event, and it has to be an exciting event that you think your community will definitely care about, like a competition, just find your local TV station, find your local radio station, write up a basic thing, kind of like with your press release, write up a thing about who you are, what you're doing, why they should care, and just invite them over to your event. Finalize the details. Maybe if they're really interested, they'll come over and they'll maybe film something and present it on their morning radio or TV station. And it just reaches a lot of people and can be extremely rewarding. So social media, probably what everyone is most familiar with. This is how I feel around social media. I'm not extremely familiar myself, but I kind of grasp the details. In that social media, it is a very, very convenient form of public relations that you can update it frequently and just as much as you want, and it's really easy to use. So it's extremely convenient, and it's a really, really nice thing to use to convey what your team does. And so when you do write a social media post, no matter what form of social media it is, you want the post to be concise, it's going to be short, it's going to be eye-catching. Put yourself in the shoes of the viewer. If you're scrolling down your Facebook feed and it's just photos after photos after photos, what would make you stop scrolling and look at that robotics team post? Always keep these things in mind. So that might be short description, followed by maybe a photo or a video attachment, something that is, pops out and grabs attention. And another thing that is, sorry. Another thing that is really nice about social media is that it allows you to directly engage with your audience. So you can't really do that with press releases or newsletters, but with social media, you can write something up and somebody can comment it, and you can start a discussion or something. And so, this can be engagement and interaction with maybe other teams, maybe with sponsors, maybe with people who support you, with really anybody, since social media is such a wide and diverse audience. Other thing for interaction with other teams especially is that, don't be afraid to link them in your post. If you just played an alliance with someone, then just link them in. Just, attach their team page on there, and that will let you gain more views. It'll spread around your news. It's a really easy and quick way to just be a part of your community, basically. And finally, hashtags. Don't pile on too many hashtags at once. I know it can be tempting, but don't. I know there's an FRC hashtag OMG robots that you can use. If you're at a regional, you can just hashtag that. Or if there's no hashtag available, just make your own hashtag. Don't be afraid. Just make your own. So first social media is Facebook. Facebook has a very wide and diverse audience. However, in this day and age, I hear that is mostly adults now on there, as us teenagers don't go on it too often anymore. But anyway, for Facebook, you want to put on major updates, major summaries, things that are just very important things. If you're just going to a competition, if you just won a competition, you have an outreach event, have that up, have just a description of that with a photo of that, and that's very important. Have it in all caps here, attach a photo. It makes it extremely much more interesting. And then with Facebook, it is extremely tempting to post as much as you want. However, Facebook does have a filtering system, and this is some pretty important stuff. And that when you post too much back to back, Facebook doesn't necessarily convey all of that to your audience. They'll just pick maybe one or two out, and then have the other ones come in and pop in at a later date when things are less busy on someone's newsfeed. And so because of this, don't just keep on posting on Facebook. Maybe post 3 times a day max at a competition. Maybe start a competition, maybe something really big happened, and then end a competition, and then with a photo. But don't keep posting. But still post often. Maybe once a week, once a day, just not more than 3 times a day. So here are some Facebook examples. It's a little hard to see, but Right here, we have our Facebook post from when we won Chessie Champs. So that's a major update. We just won a competition. We have a nice photo with all of our team members in it, and our mascot costumes and our trophy. And in the post, we say, we just became #Chessie Champions. Thanks for being on our alliance. Link team, link team, link team. And then great game to link team, link team, link team. And thank you to Link Cheesy Poops for hosting this event. So normally you won't be linking this many teams, but don't be afraid to attach team on there. It helps garner a lot of views. And then you can't really see it down here, but make sure to go into your own social media account and like and share that post. It may seem very shameless, self-advertisement, but don't be afraid to. It does help spread the word out. And then over here, for the second Facebook post, this is a post made by one of our sponsors, NVIDIA, when we invited them to come to Chessie Champs and tour around and look at the robots. And so they posted a little something. We shared that post. We linked them again. We thanked them. But this is just an example of how you can interact with your sponsors, not just your teams, but your sponsors. So it's very nice. Twitter is another social media, and that Twitter is different from Facebook, and that one, its audience is a slightly younger range. I know adults also use Facebook, but you'll find more of the younger peoples on Twitter, as well as a lot of other FRC teams. I know a lot of FRC teams have Twitter now. And the second thing about Twitter is that really nice is that it lets you update whenever you want, and it makes it extremely simple to just write something up and send it, and just have it as an update. And Twitter does not have a filtering system as complicated as Facebook, so just don't be afraid to just update whenever you want to. Of course, these updates need to be short and concise, especially if you're sending out a lot of them. As well as Twitter does have a character cap. I believe it is 140 characters. So, don't go overboard. Don't write like a 5-paragraph essay on Twitter, but just keep 1 or 2 sentences about it. Oh, another important thing to keep in mind when using Twitter, sorry. Twitter doesn't allow you to edit your post. Facebook allows you to edit your post, but Twitter does not. You have to manually delete it and then retweet the same thing with the edits that you want. So just be careful when you're posting something, that you finalize your content before sending it out for the entire world to see. Here are some Twitter examples, and that, as I said, just frequent updates. Maybe you have a match update. Hey, we just finished semis 2. Great game 2, and then link the teams, link the team, link the team. Have a nice little photo to show off. But the content that you publish on Twitter doesn't just have to be competition related. Maybe something cool happened, like, hey, our vice captain and operator just went on the big screen on the giant Jumbotron thing. And thank you so much to #GameSense for putting her on. Little updates like that, as well as updates like, hey, thanks judges for giving us the quality award. It's super cool. Have a nice photo of it. So just when you compare these two, you're probably more likely to stop and read this one, since it has a nice photo, instead of this one, which is just text. Just keep that in mind. Try to attach a photo. YouTube. YouTube is a little different than Facebook and Twitter, and that FRC teams don't use YouTube like regular current day YouTubers use YouTube. YouTube's audience is really nice. It's just anyone who is interested, who's willing to go on there and watch your videos. And your videos can be pretty much about anything. It can be about events, maybe like a recap video or a reveal video for your robot, promotion for your outreach, or just for your robot, as well as resources, educational resources, such as this workshop right now, which we will put on Facebook, by the way, as well as other things. And with YouTube, what I meant when I said that FRC teams use it differently than regular YouTubers, is that you don't have to go out of your way to chug out a video like every week. since that's not really really high on your priority list. And that just publish a video whenever possible. Whenever you have a video that you want to publish, just go and publish it. Don't always have a video that has purpose. And then with these videos, the title of these videos need to be accurately convey the information you want to convey, that someone who's interested can easily just search up the term and it automatically just pops up first. If you have a weird, ambiguous name that might not necessarily have it pop up first, there's a problem. But YouTube lets you edit your title and your description, so that's really nice. So here's some examples of YouTube usage. Here we have our 2016 season recap from, this is all from the Citrus Circuits YouTube page, by the way. We have match footage right here. Match footage is always something really nice that you can put on YouTube. We have our chairman's video, so we have past videos. This is from 2015. We have videos dating back to before 2015 too. We have things like promotion for our outreach, which is this little video down here. And then we have educational resources, like our workshop video from last year. However, this is something I just want to point out. Here, the title just says mechanical design. It's extremely ambiguous. Someone looking at that, not knowing any of this, might not know what it is. They might not know that it's a workshop. So just be very careful when you write your titles. That accurately conveys, but concisely conveys what you want it to convey. So probably the most important form of public relations is your website. Your website targets everyone and everything that is on the internet. And nice thing about website is that you completely control everything on there. There's no outside source going in and changing and editing your website. It is completely within your control. And so because of this, you want it to accurately convey what you want it to convey. You want it to be a direct reflection of your team. This is the Team 604 Quicksilver website. They've won a few Chairman's Awards for their website, and it is a very nice website, I must tell you. But you can kind of see, automatically see, hey, branding, hey, FRC, hey, categories. And I'm talking about categories. You want your website to be very self-intuitive and very easily navigable. That no one needs to handhold someone to go find a page. That you can know, I want to look for a specific thing. I see the tab, I know exactly where it's going to be. Just have it easy and easily organized, easily found. And so with frequency for updating your website, it is important to update it literally as much as you can. Whether to keep it current with events that you've just had, a competition event, outreach event, maybe if that's all you think that needs to be updated, you're wrong. There is always something that needs to be updated, whether it's formatting, whether it's organization, whether it's elaborating on past articles, whether it's building up on and writing past articles, things like that. And I'll go more into the different contents of it. Wait. I didn't write it on here, but something really important to remember is to have your website be easily accessed on a mobile device. A lot of displayed on a smartphone, you should, fix that. You should maybe write up a separate formatting for your smartphone layout for your website. Maybe switch to a platform that automatically converts your desktop format to your mobile format. Just make sure that it does run on a mobile device. These are just more examples of websites. This is our Citrus Circuits website. You can only see it right here, but bam! Branding. Wow, I automatically know it's a Citrus Circuits website. And then we have a slideshow right here that goes through some current events that are, current and applicable and interesting for our audience. And then we have a lot of tabs, which have a lot of sub-tabs. So let's say I want to learn something about outreach. You automatically go to outreach tab, and it scrolls down, you can see all these options. And when you design your sub-tabs, you want to make sure that the pages that will be viewed most often, such as calendars, contact us, that those are most readily available and those are just easily accessed. So contact us has like our separate own tab, and so does calendar. But yeah. And so this is the 1671 website. It is also extremely nice. For this example, I really want to point out the simplicity of the entire website and how simple it looks. There's not too much information jumping out at you, but it's easily processed, it's easily viewed, very simple, very clean. It's very current. As you can see, they have their, robot, their current robot, as well as this is a timer, a countdown to 2017 kickoff. So maybe you can incorporate a countdown on your website to whatever event you're going to go to, or to kickoff, to anything you really want to. And then you can see this more clearly since it's not white like our website, but just have all the tabs that you want to have, and with the sub-tabs that are easily accessible, like search bar, contact us. Something I just want to touch upon is that you want to make sure that no matter what form of public relations you do, that they are all connected and interwoven with each other. And that, if you just publish a press release, post it on your website. On your website, have links to your social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter. On your Facebook, have a link to your website. On your press release, on the very bottom go, visit whatever your team page is for more information. Just have these links readily available so that viewers can just, jump back and forth between your public relations. And so just make sure the content on each form is consistent with one another, but also together. Thank you all for listening to me ramble for about an hour. Are there any questions? No?
You both got to give us more than 2 seconds to come up with questions. So yeah, I'll have questions.
Okay, yeah,
But
take your time.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go with the research.
Oh, right. Forgot I did that. This slideshow will be published along with a workshop video. It will be published on our website and on Chief, I believe, for everyone to view. So if you want to go back, look it over, look at the video, look at the slides. I also have some resources here, and I'll be adding a few more later on. So there are helpful things that you can always refer back to. For example, FIRST has a lot of resources that you can go to. And so those are really nice. For branding wise, I know that 254 has really nice branding standards that they wrote up that goes over a lot of the basics of branding. But as for like websites and stuff, if you want to draw inspiration, just go to YouTube, search up reveal videos, and just watch like 500 videos in a row. Maybe not 500, but just go through and look at other teams, look at what other teams are doing. Don't directly copy them, but see what they're going for and how they're going for it, and try to apply that to yourself. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Assuming we do change the logo, how clear should we make it that we did change the logo and we're actually the same team? Or is it would it be kind of obvious?
What kind of change are you going for?
I'm not suggesting that we are.
Oh, just like in general? Okay, so when you're changing your logo, I mean, if you're doing like slight variants, it's okay to have slight variants. Write that in your branding standards or whatever reference document you have, that, I can scale this to this size. Yes, you can put your logo at an angle. Yes, you can use these colors. But if you're going for a complete redesign, think it through. Think it through a few times. Draft it up, edit it, go over it, and when you finalize it with everybody, publish it, As for how drastic the change is, it's really whatever you feel is necessary. Sorry, that doesn't really answer your question.
Actually, it could be a really good opportunity, you know, if you're going to make a big change in your logo. It is kind of a good opportunity to relaunch your brand. So, you know, if you do a new logo, it's something that you can use, you know, reintroduce your team to your community or reintroduce your team to your sponsors. And so, I mean, it can be a really positive event. But I think it's, as Amanda was saying, it's not something you take lightly. So if you're going to do it, you know, do a good job and have something you're going to stick with for a while, not just something you're going to change from year to year necessarily. But it can be a really, I mean, you see a lot of big companies do that too, where they use, you know, changing their logo as a way to kind of reintroduce who they are as a company. So it's kind of, you have the same opportunity there as a team.
Any other questions? Speechless? Hey.
What sort of framework and platform do you guys run your website off of?
We used to do it on WordPress, but it wasn't really mobile compatible, so we just switched to Weebly. We do use the paid service for it though, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. But Weebly's really nice in that it's really easy to use, so a lot of our new recruits can just, you know, just hop onto it and make edits directly. They don't have to write any like HTML code for it. And Weebly also transmits directly to mobile, so that's really handy. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I know a lot of teams do use HTML coding, so if you have the time and resources to provide for that, there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, WordPress, Weebly, a lot of other things.
What do you do in regards to posting content by students? Like, do you have someone on team who's designated and trusted that is just assigned to do the Twitter feed, or does it have to be run by an advisor or mentor before it's actually posted or anything like that?
So we have a business media team, and each person is kind of like in charge of a different channel. We have a lot of people working on the same one, and we have a lot of people who overlap channels. As business media lead, I kind of review a lot of the stuff before it posts. Our mentors go over it too before it posts, especially if it's something really important. Since, you know, once it's out there, and it's never going to go away. But yeah, we don't just let students do whatever on our Facebook. We have someone look it over beforehand for pretty much every single medium that we have. Yeah.
Even Twitter with quick blasts
Twitter?
and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I
kind
think
of.
the important thing is that, you know, we kind of sit down, you know, as a team and talk about, you know, what the standards are, what the expectations are. And so, you know, most of the things are, like you said, somebody usually takes a second look at it before it goes out. You know, during competitions where people are posting updates, you know, those happen fairly frequently and regularly, so there's not probably as much oversight, but I think everybody on the team, you know, understands you know, what the expectations are and how to communicate with the audiences. You know, we haven't had a problem with it, but, you know, if things were inappropriate, then we would, you know, definitely be changing. That person would probably not have access to it. But I think the main thing is there's limited people that have access to using those channels. So it's not like anybody on the team can post it.
Make sure they know the basics, they have the training, and that they're ready to use that before we give them access to it. Yes?
Thank you.
No problem.
So, I'm thinking about like when people from the community reach back to the team.
Yeah.
Is there a standard way for you to, you know, funnel them? If I say, hey, I'd love to be a mentor for y'all, or I'm interested in, want to be a sponsor, or I just want to understand more about your team. How do you respond to that kind of inquiry if you get that as an email or other kind of communication?
We always respond really quickly and with thank you for contacting us, of course, firsthand, and then whatever information they provide, whatever information they want us to provide, we give back to them. If they want to be a mentor, we give them information, give them meeting dates. Usually they'll add some information on what they're asking beforehand so that it makes it pretty straightforward to answer the question. So if they want to be a sponsor, usually they email the main team email. I know some teams have main team emails, and then usually our captain who runs that team email usually forwards it to me, and then I go directly back to them. the sponsor specifically, we have a sponsorship packet that has all the information about what our team does and why it's important to sponsor us that we forward to them. So we have all these like resources and information readily available. What were the?
Yeah, I think typically, as Amanda was saying, it goes in, we have one central email for the team. And then with the leadership, reviews that. I mean, they're constantly checking to see what comes in. And then usually the team captain or the vice captain will, direct it to whoever the most relevant person would be.
Yeah.
So, it might be somebody looking, want to do a mentorship, it might go to our head mentor and he would contact them. Or if it has to do a sponsorship, it would go to Amanda and she would contact them. So it's usually directed by typically the captain or the vice captain. But our leadership team reviews that email, all those emails that come in.
This is more of a business-oriented question, is that okay?
Yeah. Go for
How
it.
do you guys typically reach out to sponsors?
Sponsors.
Come to the workshop tomorrow.
Oh yeah. There's a shameless plug for our workshop tomorrow afternoon, right?
Yeah, we're doing a workshop tomorrow
I'll
evening.
be there.
It's on budgeting and sponsorships.
But for main things, we reach out. We have a basic marketing plan that we set out in the beginning of the year that kind of goes how the standards of how we should approach these sponsors. And then you just first go to companies that you think would be relevant to your team, would care about your team's vision and your cause, such as like engineering firms, STEM-related companies. Contact them. If you need more sponsors, contact local companies. Local businesses are always good. Don't try to go into like Apple first off, but just try to go local first. And then there's a lot of grants out there too that you can go for. Just do a little research, and there's just a lot of free money out there that you just apply for and you can get pretty easy. But go to the workshop tomorrow. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you all for coming.
Wait.
Amanda will be around all weekend,
Yeah,
so
I'll be around today, tomorrow, Sunday. I'll probably be wearing Capital City Classic shirt and a badge if you want to come find me and talk to me. I'd be happy to talk to you. If you have any questions that you come up with later, don't be afraid to just shoot me an email and I'll try to get back to you within like a day or two. This is my personal email, aliu00143@gmail.com. I'm pretty friendly, I think, so don't be afraid to email that. If you have any general questions that you'd like to ask our team in general, this is our central team email that is run by our leadership team, by our two captains, and they're very quick with responding too. So, yeah, just shoot either one of them an email, and we'd be happy to get back to you. Yeah. Sure nobody has questions? Well, thank you all for coming tonight. It's really nice to have an actual audience for once. Yeah.